welcome into the Mardi Gras episode of the Playbook. I'm here joined by a very special guest, the Bell City Girls basketball head coach, Tracy Fontenot. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for
joining me. And like I said, happy Mardi Gras. And what have you been doing to celebrate the festivities?
I relaxed today, went and played a little golf and just took it easy.
You weren't out on the parade?
Oh, no, not
going with the crazy people.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, I mean, this is my first one here.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I was in here just working, so I really didn't get to go on the crazy street. But yeah, it looks like a lot of fun.
Oh,
so,
it is.
I need to hit it up in the years to come. But that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about the incredible Bell City Lady Bruins that you're the head coach of. 23-2 record, just coming off of two big games against Hathaway. What did you like seeing from your girls in those two games?
Our ability to adapt. Our district with Lacassine and Hathaway both defend really well, and they took us out of what we like to do, and we had to adapt and change what we were doing offensively and defensively to be able to compete. Mm-hmm. And our district really showed us that we still have work to do.
Yeah, what were those things that they both kind of took away from? Well, what are you good at that they tried to stop?
Well, transition game. We really like to get it up and down the floor. We like to spread the floor and attack and set screens. They switched them. They did both schools do a good job of sideline pinning it, not letting us attack the middle of the floor and so forth. And we haven't seen that. That's how we play. So we know how it is to run it against it in practice. But they both did a really good job of doing that. So we had to come up with another type of strategy, to do that. So we started trying to get the ball inside more through the post play instead of through the dribble penetration and just trying to attack it.
Yeah, and playing Hathaway back-to-back 2 games in a row, what kind of was that like?
Well, we didn't play them 2 games in a row. We played Lacassine, Hathaway.
Okay.
But so yeah, there's not but 3 teams in our district. But they came out and especially in that last game was a lot more physical and a lot more aggressive, and I didn't think we handled it well in the first half. But that's something we're going to see. And when you get to the playoffs, it's going to be physical. Basketball, you may say it used to be a non-contact sport. It's a contact sport.
Yeah, you talk about going just 3 games in the district, so you've got 2 games and then 2 games of really important basketball to play. What kind of challenge is that, seeing those 2 teams back to back, and what challenge is it to beat them twice in a row?
Well, that's the thing. It's with those 2 teams, you have to be ready to play. Every now and then you'll have a team that you may play in your district that you say, well, that's a gimme. They're down. They're not as strong. Both of these can compete, and both of these can show you your weaknesses. So, hats off to my kids. They picked up on it pretty well, and the big thing with us is not overlooking anybody. And the old saying, take one game at a time. So we worry about that opponent. We try not to look ahead and try to work on what we need to work on to compete.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit before the show of, like, you only have 25 games that you play, so those 4 games in district are pretty important. That can move you up and down the power rankings. Just one loss could drop you from the 1 seed that you are now down to 12. What kind of is that like, playing with that kind of pressure, and how do you think those girls handled it?
Well, the least amount of games you play will move you up, and we know coming in the district, we knew it would be tough playing those teams. I don't think it really bothers the kids. Maybe the coaches it does to a certain point, or maybe just me, maybe not Jeremy and Maddie, but the kids, it doesn't bother them. They just want to compete. It doesn't matter. And they just go out there and play. It doesn't matter what you throw out in front of them. They're going to go play. That's what's so enjoyable about this group.
Yeah, and 23-2, it's fun to win 23 games,
yes,
for sure.
It is.
It's definitely enjoyable. How fun has this season been for you?
Well, it's been some up and downs. We lost to 2 good teams, but we competed for the most part in both of those games. We've competed and beat some really good teams. We played some bigger schools on our schedule, which shows that we can compete on any level. But some of those are, victories. When you go back and look at them, the kids know it was a big win, and it's an enjoyable win because we don't lie to them. We tell them, hey, this one's going to be tough. Now we're going to have to get ready. This is what we got to do, and whatever we tell them, they do a pretty dang good job of picking up on it and realizing. We have stressed rebounding since last year, and early in the season it was getting better. But as of late, it's really gotten a lot better, and that's a lot to do with Jeremy Oye and Maddie Brasso, because they both were. Jeremy coached at Lacassine, and Maddie played for him, and they know how important rebounding is, and they've really pushed that, and the kids have responded in a good way.
Yeah, one of those standout players for you. Peyton Herpin just scored her 2,000th point. You had a big kind of ceremony after the game, and I'm sure that was fun for you, obviously, seeing her growth for the 4 years. Just what has she been like for a player coaching for you?
The growth that she's had, if you look at, and it was funny because we put on some old film when she was like a 8th grader and a freshman. She was so small and frail and has grown and grown and grown and worked on her game. She's a special kid to coach. You don't get those all the time. She has that it factor that, I've been in it 35, 36 years. I probably have had maybe 2 or 3 of those. As a coach, it really makes you look good when you have somebody like that.
Yeah, what one area this year have you seen the growth for most from her?
The physicality, the post play. We're starting to post her up a lot more. She defends well. She leads us in basically every statistical category or pretty close to it. But she shoots the 3 so well. Teams have really got out and tried to be physical with her on the perimeter and try to take that away. And she's responded really well look, if they're going to put a smaller person on you outside to stop you from shooting, because she does handle it well. You can't put a big kid on her. Then we're going to go ahead and put you in the post and let you post up, and that's what she's getting better at that.
Yeah, what is one thing that you maybe want to see a little more from her going into the postseason and going to allow you to make a deep playoff run?
Be a little more physical. That's the big thing. And I challenged her the other day, in the Hathaway game of them being physical, and I didn't think we responded well. And I told her, I said, you're going to play at the next level. It's going to be physical. You're going to have to understand that. And she took it to heart because she came out the second half and played really, really well.
Yeah, and what's the advantage of, in a smaller town, obviously they play 7th through senior year, basically.
Right.
Those extra 2 years, what's the advantage as a coach seeing them for those 2 years and being able to almost groom them for 6 years instead of 4?
Well, that's a big thing. That's the advantage of having that, to me, is those kids learning the program. Getting or understanding the culture of the program at a very, very early age. Peyton has been playing since the 7th grade. A lot of the juniors I have right now, I've got 6 of them. I think they may have all played as 8th graders. So they have been there, and to watch the growth that they have had and understand our system and our culture and what it takes, and they're doing a really, really good job of passing that on, because right now we have 4 7th graders and 2 8th graders on our team. Mm-hmm. And because we can now. And by doing that, that group plays so much like this group. It's going to be a fun group to watch. They're going to be just like this group. And I think that's a huge advantage. That's when you go back and you look at a lot of the Class B and C schools, a lot of those are going to be in that situation where they pull them up. That's why I feel that, Class B is still top to bottom going to be one of the most competitive classes because of that reason.
Yeah, it's just interesting. Obviously, I came from a 4-year high school, so I wouldn't even know what it would be like playing in 7th grade, 8th grade against seniors. It's just kind of even to start against those in 7th grade.
A lot of those kids in the 7th grade are probably not physically ready to compete on a high school level. Yeah. But some of them, every now and then, you'll find it more in girls than you will with boys. Boys on a 7th grade, 8th grade level, it's hard to be able to compete with the physicality of 17, 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
But there's some girls that are able to do that. Peyton, for example, played a lot as an 8th grader for us, and has constantly, started to evolve into what she is now.
Yeah, that's why you're the number 1 seed right now, essentially. And just going through on a 10-game win streak, what kind of confidence does that give you and this team going into the playoffs? Obviously, you got to wait a week, but
no. Well, the big thing is me and Coach Jinks talk from Fairview. We're really good friends, and kind of like me and him were talking. The big thing is you don't want to go into the playoffs coming off a loss. You want to get to that high. You want to peak at the right time. Yeah. I've had teams peak early and it was a fight, but at the same time, you want to win that last regular district game so that you're still on that high, especially if it's a really good team, to get ready for the playoffs. So it's winning that last one was big.
Yeah, you made another deep run in the playoffs last year. Came up a little short in the state championship. Well, how have you seen that kind of fuel your girls this year?
Well, the biggest reason we lost was rebounding, and that's what we've been pushing. And I think they're starting to understand how important rebounding is, how big of a part of the game that it really is. And they're hungry. They want to play. They want to play the better teams. And they've always been that. They always say, Coach, could you get us a game with this team? They want to play the better teams. And like I always tell them, the better teams are going to bring out your weaknesses. And when we've played some of those bigger schools and we've gotten beat, it brought out some of our weaknesses. And they are so good at working on that part of the game.
Yeah, and going through, you're the 1 seed now. You were the 2 seed last year. Both you get a bye. So how
Correct.
are you kind of handling this kind of week off and getting prepared for the next game and just trying to keep everybody fresh?
Well, like I said, me and you talked earlier, we had almost a 2-week break in district, because unfortunately couldn't find certain teams, decided or couldn't play or and so forth. But it's not a big. They're used to it now. Last year was the same way. I don't think we played very many Tuesday games. It was just tournament, and but they practice so hard. And what we do at practice, what Coach Oye does at practice is, like I said, they compete against each other. It's not where you get this 5 competing against this 5, and this 5's much better. Teams are even, and they compete against each other, and it's very, very competitive. So we don't lose that edge. They still want to compete. They still want to win. They want to beat each other. And sometimes it gets out of hand. We got to kind of calm them down. So the edge is going to be there. What's good about that team is, everybody has huddle now. Everybody watches film. Yeah. But our girls, I can go and check the log. They all go watch huddle. They watched other teams, and we put them there. They'll come up and say, Coach, this one, she doesn't go to her left hand very well, or Coach, looks like this one gets tired. They know. They watch it. They bought in other words.
Yeah, and starting at the 1 seed and the 2 seed, you're kind of the team to beat in the tournament. What kind of is that feeling like, and the pressure going through it?
Well, the pressure for me, last year it was kind of like we weren't expected to be where we were, but and we really stepped in, and they played well. The seeding, and I know the girls were excited about being the number 1 seed. The seeding to me is not a big a deal when it comes down to it. I mean, you want to get a bye, but it comes down to the point where you have the Fairviews and the Pitkins and the Hathaways and Zuales and they have so many, and the Cocos. They got so many good teams. The seeding basically tells you who you're going to play if you win, and so forth. Well, that's when you go back and look and say, oh, we seeded 1. Oh my, we got to play this team the 2nd round, this team the 3rd round. The seeding has its benefits, I guess, but it's still to the point where you're going to have to beat good teams. I don't care if you seeded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's cool to be the 1 seed, though. Just,
it is. For the kids wanted it. They wanted to have that recognition. So.
Yeah, of course, and obviously congratulations on that
for
this year. And you've been at Bell City for 18 years.
Correct.
Just what kind of has kept you there? What do you like about this town and this area?
I like the small school. Like I said, I graduated from a Class B school. I taught where I graduated for the first 3 years. Went to bigger schools. But I like the Class B rural community schools, the small schools. I just feel that the community involvement at Bell City is just, I mean, unbelievable. We travel an hour away, we're going to bring a lot of people. They really, really follow their sports, not just basketball, everything, you know. But you know, they're excited. The community was excited last year. Hopefully we can get them excited again this year. But I think that's the biggest thing. It's fun for everybody to basically surround and support you the way that they do.
Well, we put you guys on the poll this week, and it wasn't even close. You guys won by like 85% on the poll.
That's what I mean. That is our fan base does that. That's how they are.
Yeah, that's correct. It's probably an incredible feeling coaching when you got those cheering fans behind you.
I do.
Yeah, and just going through just your love for basketball in general, did you always think that you were going to be a girls coach or a boys coach, or what really has had you fall in love with girls basketball?
Well, when I got out of college, I wasn't even going to be a coach. But I really liked to play and so forth, and decided I wanted to go into coaching, and I coached girls because that job was open.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did that at Bayou Chico, where I graduated from. Then I went to Sacred Heart because there was an opening there for girls. It was closer to home, and I went there, and then ended up coaching boys and girls at the same time for like 2 years, and it was hectic to say the least. I didn't see my family and my kids, to the point where I said, okay, I can't do this anymore. And they said, well, what do you want, girls or boys? Mm-hmm. Well, I have 2 daughters, and I said, I'm going to go ahead and stay with girls, and that's where I've stayed.
Yeah, what's the difference in the games from the boys to the girls?
I'm going to tell you, there's not as much difference as people think.
Yeah.
Girls are a little more to the point where things will bother them a little bit more at certain times, but there's really not that big of a difference. Girls are very eager to please, and a lot of the boys are the same way. But I'm just saying, with this group right here, they are really going to work and try to do what you tell them to do. I've had girls teams that weren't exactly like that, but this group is like I said, is special. They're so close. They hang out together constantly. They're always, even at school, out of school, and so forth. So they're really close, and I think that has a lot to do with their success.
Do you bring them out to the house and cook for them a little bit for?
No, I don't. What we'll do is every now and then, which is probably due time, we'll have practice and we'll order pizza.
There you go.
And and so forth. I know one time we sat and I ordered pizza and watched a movie, watched Hoosiers if I'm not mistaken. But do stuff like that. But they always are going. In other words, you talk to them after practice. Hey, y'all come and eat with us. And there's 5 or 6 of them. They're all there, but they're like a big family. I mean, you have a lot of juniors like we have. That 6 juniors. That whole group is really, really close.
Did anybody try the underhand free throw after the Hoosiers
No,
movie?
No. I don't think so. No.
Or gotta pass it around until you can shoot.
No, we don't pass it around very much. No, we're going to shoot it a lot quicker than that.
Yeah, and what would you think? You said rebounding is the big thing this year.
Right.
What are 2 other things that you want to see from this team that's going to allow them to get back to the state championship?
I would say defense. I mean, that's a big thing. You always tell the kids, you can have bad nights on offense. You could not be shooting the wall, but you should never have a bad night on defense. So that's one thing, And we've had some bad nights on offense, and defense has kept us in. Mm-hmm. But I think defense is probably one of the biggest ones after that. And if we're shooting the ball well and the transition is good, then we can compete really well. And we have a lot of kids that shoot the ball really well. Mm-hmm. So with the shooting, the defense, and the rebounding, that's what it takes.
What would the state championship this year mean to you in this program?
To this program, it would be huge. I think the last time they won it was in 1973. So it's been a while. If I'm not mistaken, it's around 73. Yeah. And it had been 20 years, I think, since they had went to the top 28 before last year. So winning it for the community and for those kids that have worked so hard, it would be well deserving, and the community would be ecstatic.
Is there anything you want to say to the community for voting you on here, and anything you want to say going into the postseason?
I appreciate all the support. I can always count on y'all. The girls can always count on y'all, and we ask for you to continue to do so. And hopefully Monday night, I think that's when we're supposed to play.
Yeah.
We want to pack it up again and see how many people we can fit in there.
Yeah, awesome. Good luck. I can't wait to watch you guys throughout the postseason. Hopefully it's another deep playoff run, and we'll see you in the state championship, hopefully. So
Ryan, I appreciate you inviting me, and thank you for everything y'all doing.
Oh, of course. We're doing our best. I promise you that. And thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of The Playbook, and we'll see you next week for the playoffs. See ya.